So we're going to look at 3 web pages then altogether. An agent, in the new sense, not in the reinforcement learning sense, but in the new sense of a language model that has access to tools and data, was in some ways defined by LangChain, actually, I think last year, just about, before LangChain became a company and raised $10 million on this very idea. An agent, according to LangChain, is to use a language model to choose a sequence of actions to take. So in chains, a sequence of actions is hard-coded. In agents, a language model is used as a reasoning engine to determine which actions to take. And those actions are typically enacted via tools. So if we ask an agent, for example, how to add 1 plus 1 together, it will look at the tools available. We actually give the agent a predefined tool set, and it goes, which tool is best to use here? Maybe it's a calculator, and it'll pick the calculator, it'll input 1 plus 1 and receive back 2. So an agent, even according to LangChain, is tools plus data. And here's the description. So an agent, this is the chain responsible for deciding what step to take next. The inputs to this chain are tools, user input, so your query, and then intermediate steps, which is really just a fancy way to say previous tool uses. So language models can use multiple tools in a row to make really neat emergent results possible. And tools are functions that an agent can invoke. Okay, but what does that look like in practice? To answer that question, I'll be going to ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has ChatGPT 4, GPT 3.5, and this ChatGPT plugins one. And GPT-4 also technically uses tools, but ChatGPT plugins was the first model from OpenAI to use tools. And they call their tools plugins. And they have a plugin store with a whole bunch of different plugins available, chat with PDF, AI PDF, CoderPad, run code in more than 30 programming languages, diagrams, which I assume allows the language model to produce diagrams, Earth generates a map image. There are a number of tools, and they all let ChatGPT expand its capabilities, but it has to reason that it should use that tool. So I'm going to use Expedia because I'm going to Europe on Monday and I'd like to know what hotels there are in Amsterdam. What hotels in Amsterdam do you recommend? And ChatGPT will look at the tools that it has, and first it wants to know a little bit more information about where, what kind of hotel I would like, etc. Would I like a specific type of hotel, like a luxury hotel, a budget-friendly option, or perhaps a family-friendly place? A family place, please. So ChatGPT is now calling out to Expedia. So it's decided to use this Expedia plugin / tool. And we can actually look at what that looks like. So here, it sent Expedia, request to Expedia, family-friendly hotels in Amsterdam, keywords, family-friendly hotels, destination Amsterdam, and in the response, it gets back a number of hotels. And ChatGPT will use the data it got back to recommend real hotels. So it isn't just leaning on its knowledge base that it picked up during the training process, but rather in situ, in real time, it's looking up actual information on the internet, and depending on that information to give me a grounded response to ensure that it's not hallucinating. And so I get really specific information that I know is correct, and it even gives me a link to book it. That is what agents are for. They are language models whose capabilities have been expanded through giving them access to tools. So NH City Center Amsterdam, yada yada, sure, that sounds good. But we won't be using ChatGPT in this class. We'll be using Mistral. And here's just a quick look at Mistral's website. So it's open in white box, which means that the language model, they give us it, we can download it. Our products come with weights and sources, so we can install it on our computer, and it's totally legal to use. And if we take a look at Mistral 7b in particular, so it's a 7 billion parameter model. It is much smaller than GPT. ChatGPT, some rumors say it's between 20 to 175 billion parameters. GPT-4 is like, say, over 1 trillion parameters, depending on how you look at it, considering it's most likely a mixture of experts model, which means it's several models stacked together. Mistral, in comparison, is tiny. It's a tiny, tiny model. But despite that, because they gave it such a good training set, it outperforms much larger models. And in particular, it outperforms Llama 1 34 billion on many benchmarks. That's important because Llama 1 34 billion, according to Facebook, was better than ChatGPT. So we have the sense that maybe Mistral 7b is equivalent to ChatGPT, which means it's probably good enough for us, because if ChatGPT can use Expedia, I'm sure Mistral 7 billion can use our vector database. So moving on to the next step.